You are staring at a screen at 2 a.m., watching the project you sacrificed your sleep, your savings, and your social life to build completely flatline. Or perhaps you are looking at a text message, realizing the person you anchored your entire future to just walked away without a single backward glance, leaving you with nothing but a devastating, suffocating silence. You wake up with a physical ache in your chest. Your bank account is drained. Your energy is at absolute zero, and your mind is running a toxic, infinite loop of self-pity. You look up at the ceiling and ask the exact same question the weak have asked for centuries. Why is this happening to me? I did the work. I did everything right. What did I do to deserve this? You desperately crave a comforting lie. You want someone to validate your excuses, to tell you that the system is rigged, that the algorithm is broken, the market is saturated, or that modern people are simply incapable of loyalty. But the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche would look directly at your ruined plans and tell you that you are asking the absolute wrong question. He did not view human suffering, a failed business launch, a brutal rejection, or a public humiliation as a mistake or a tragic anomaly. He viewed it as the ultimate inescapable forge for human greatness. He introduced a psychological override that entirely destroys our modern obsession with comfort and safety. He called it amor fati, the love of one's fate. He did not mean simply surviving a terrible month with a gritted jaw. He meant fiercely and unapologetically loving the exact catastrophic failure that is breaking you right now. Because he understood a brutal reality. Without that specific, agonizing friction, you remain permanently soft. Today, we are going to explore why self-pity is the most paralyzing poison you can consume, and we will break down the 4 profound psychological shifts you must make to weaponize your modern suffering. The first massive psychological shift is destroying your delusion of the smooth path. Modern society aggressively programs you to expect the massive reward without the terrifying risk. You want the highly profitable business, the perfect relationship, and the absolute freedom. But you completely collapse the second you face a chargeback, a shadow ban, or a harsh, uncompromising disagreement. Nietzsche argued that a life without intense, crushing friction is a life completely devoid of depth. When you pity yourself after a failure, you are essentially wishing to remain a weaker, untested version of yourself. The searing pain of a failed launch or a broken heart is not a detour from your destiny. It is the universe violently burning away your naivety, your entitlement, and your fragile ego. To resent the fire is to resent the exact process trying to turn your soft iron into hardened steel. When you complain about the heat, you are begging to remain a blunt instrument. The second shift requires you to recognize the narcotic of the victim narrative. The exact millisecond you ask, why me, you surrender your absolute sovereign power. Self-pity is a highly addictive drug. It feels incredibly warm in the short term because it acts as an emotional anesthetic, absolving you of the terrifying, monumental responsibility to stand up and rebuild your life from absolute zero. Amor fati demands ruthless, extreme ownership. It requires you to look at the ashes of your wasted time and money and state. I did not choose this collapse, but I claim absolute, unyielding responsibility for the empire I will build from these ruins. Stop waiting for an apology from the world. Stop waiting for the perfect market conditions. Weaponize the humiliation. The intense emotional energy you are currently wasting feeling sorry for yourself in the dark is the exact same high-octane energy required to resurrect your life. You must choose where to direct the flame. The third realization is the concept of retrospective clarity. Look at the most disciplined, financially and emotionally impenetrable people on earth. None of them were created in a safe, frictionless environment. Their undeniable power was purchased with devastating personal losses and crushing public failures. The brutal betrayal you suffered 5 years ago taught you exactly how to read human psychology and set ironclad boundaries. The financial ruin that almost broke you taught you the unforgiving value of extreme discipline and scarcity. If you were handed a time machine, you would not dare erase your worst days, because erasing that specific agony would permanently erase the immense strength you rely on today. Amor fati is the radical act of applying that clarity to your current bleeding. It is knowing right now in the trenches that in 5 years, you will look back at this exact moment of devastation and sincerely thank it for forcing you to evolve into a giant. The fourth and final shift is the ultimate psychological test of the superior mind, the eternal recurrence. Imagine a demon creeps into your room and whispers that you must live this exact life over and over for all eternity. Every single joy and every unbearable, crushing heartbreak, repeated infinitely without a single change. The fragile mind shatters at the sheer horror of having to repeat their deepest traumas and humiliations forever. The superior, deeply aligned mind embraces it. They love their fate so completely that they welcome the pain's infinite return with open arms. This is the absolute peak of human psychological dominance. When you reach this level of radical acceptance, the modern world literally cannot break you. If you lose everything tomorrow, you simply smile, embrace the friction, and begin the work again. You finally realize that the massive, terrifying obstacle in front of you is not blocking your path. The obstacle is the path. The next time you're staring at a failed project, a shattered relationship, or an empty bank account, do not shrink. Do not seek out the comforting, enabling whispers of weak friends who simply want to validate your excuses. Stand exceptionally tall in the absolute dead center of your personal storm. Accept the pain, internalize the brutal friction, and boldly declare to the universe that you are ready for the lesson it is trying to teach you. Your suffering is not a tragedy, and it is certainly not an excuse to quit. It is the ultimate, deadliest weapon placed directly into your hands. Do not run from a forge. Step into the fire, sharpen the blade, and become completely, terrifyingly unshakable.